Hey guys, welcome to the Start, Shoot, Grow, Thrive show with Azalea Barclay. I'm so happy to have you here. I cannot wait to get into what I really want to get into today. Today, we are really talking about um, what are we talking about? All right, we're talking about how to build brand relationships as a small business. And to start this episode off, I'm going to share a few things that you may not have known about me. If this is your first time listening, I'm Zaley Barclay of ZaleyBarclay.com. I am a visual content creation coach, and I'm also a Thinkific expert. So if you have been creating online courses or looking into creating online courses, you know that Thinkific is the platform for you. And you can find out more about Thinkific by heading to my website, which is ZaleyBarclay.com. And I will leave that inside of the show notes for this show. So the first thing I want to talk about is yes, like I said, things that you don't know or may not have known about me. Some things you may have known if you are a day one follower or subscriber or anything from any one of my platforms, which is at Zilly Barclay everywhere on the internet. But I've been a full time entrepreneur for the past 5 years. It's been a journey. It's been lots of ups and lots of downs. And in this show, or even in this series, or as we continue on, I definitely want to share perspectives that I don't see people sharing online. And so, I see a lot of people sharing after the fact, but which is smart. Yesterday I read something by one of my favorite people online, Kate Northrup, and she shared about never sharing while you're inside of the moment and how scary and vulnerable that can be. And I totally get that, Kate. I am here with you, eye to eye. Um, but I also don't believe in pretending that things are amazing when they aren't. And if you follow me online, sometimes I do share while I'm in the moment, but sometimes I do prefer to just be quiet until I figure it out. Um, so that's something that, yeah, I don't know how we ended up there. However, so for the past 5 years, it has been such a crazy ride of full time entrepreneurship. And it's been so many blessings and so many lessons. And I promise this is all going to tie back to how relationships are so powerful in your business, especially if you're a small business owner. But the second thing that you may not know about me is one day, after living in New York for 12 years, I just decided I was tired. Girl, I was just tired. And I, decided to move to Dallas, Texas. I said it out loud. I said it to a few people. They did not believe me. And in 30 days, I had found my apartment online. And so I am coming to you live from Dallas, Texas. One of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. So, yeah, that's probably the second thing that you didn't know. If you did know, I definitely want to know if you do know. I'm used to saying, let me know down in the comments, but we don't have comments in the podcast. Right. But the third thing is that I've managed to build an awesome business that I absolutely love. And I'll share a bit more about that soon. But I've built that business based off of such great relationships. So I do have different aspects to my business. I just want to say that. But one of the parts of my business that I love the most is being a Thinkific expert. So I own a small course creation agency where I really help people. I help thought leaders to create online courses around their expertise. Right. So things that they've had bottled up inside for years and years and years, they've known that they were genius or they've been sharing their genius online. They've been writing books, teaching, traveling, and things like that. But it's finally time for them to bottle up that beautiful knowledge into an online course where they can serve more people. So most of my clients are used to the physical world, and coming to the online world is a whole difference for them. And what we specialize in is really having my super smart clients stand apart or stand out online. And I'll talk a little more about standing out online because that's something that I've been able to do really well. And that is a huge part of how I'm able to make such great relationships with larger businesses and corporations. and how so many people are able to find me, right? So I am a really tiny speck in a huge ocean of amazing experts and gurus, and yet still people tend to find me, this little girl, Zaylee Barclay. I'm always gonna be a little girl to myself. So that's both a blessing and a struggle. And I'll definitely talk about that in a future episode. But so being able to help other people package their knowledge on such an amazing platform is something that I've really loved or fell in love with, or I keep falling deeper and deeper in love with it as I move along. But it's definitely a part of my business that I've built based on amazing relationships, right? So, how did I even start all of this goodness? So, you may be here because you saw me on the Thinkific website. It's so funny because sometimes I talk to people that I don't even think know who the heck I am. And that's where they'll say, "Oh, yeah, you're that girl on the Thinkific website." Or um, they'll say, "Are you that girl on the Thinkific website?" Because my hair is always different. So, yeah, most people may know me from there, and I'll tell you where all of this goodness actually began. And, it's funny because this is something that people don't know or may not know. So, I am from Trinidad and Tobago, and I actually got a scholarship to go to college in New York. So, I went to St. Francis College in Brooklyn, New York, and it's so funny because this craziness all started with me being, well, as far back as I can remember. If you talk to my mom, she may tell you a different story. But I would actually be all over the school's catalogs. So just the same way you see me on the Thinkific website and on some of their physical handouts and stuff, I would be all over my college materials, right? So I've always been pretty photogenic, and I just love photos and pictures and visual content. It's just so exciting. Um, it's such an amazing way to communicate and connect with people, which is why I chose to really hone into my skill of video content and being a video coach, because it's something that I really am passionate about, helping others to stand out so that they are able to grow their businesses as well, right? But yeah, so it started out there, and then falling in love with video content and visuals. It's so crazy. I ended up with a partner who has a love for art. And so we started off with him photographing me. He didn't know much about photography before we started, and we would fight on every single photo shoot, but he has become so good at it, and it's so crazy because he hardly ever, practices, but he has just been able to photograph me so well that I'm able to submit those to, companies that are looking to feature women of color, right? Which is a huge thing for me, because I definitely feel that we are underrepresented. But I also feel like before, a part of that was that we weren't photographed a lot or submitting our photographs, or I don't know what it is. But yes. So, I became a Thinkific expert because I was actually sharing my course inside of their platform, and he used to work with Thinkific, Rob. Everybody knows Rob from Thinkific, but he's not with Thinkific anymore. But yeah, so we ended up communicating and connecting, and he realized that I knew the platform really well. This was years ago. It's so funny because I can actually remember what that call was like. And so I've been also creating for other people on the Thinkific platform for about 4 years, 3, 4 years. But I've been using the platform every time I talk about this, I forget that time is flying. And so sometimes I have numbers in my head and I'm like, wait, is it that little time or is it that long time? Kind of like how you say, you forget to update your age on your birthday when someone asks you how old you are and you realize, oh, wait, I'm not 33 anymore. I'm 34, right? But yeah, so I've been using their platform forever. I've been in love with their platform forever, and they've been growing. And it's such an amazing thing to see. But that's really how we connected. It was really a video that I shared about the platform, about how I was creating inside of the platform. And I know that I use it pretty differently from the average person. So it probably caught his eye. He was like, "Who are you and what do you do?" And then we connected from there. And I just want to share that because a lot of times as creators, we're so nervous or afraid to share our work for the fear of, or for the fear of rejection, or for the with the knowledge that there are other creators that are so much better than us, and that keeps back so many creators and artists, and I know that because I'm around them every day, and I'm one myself, and we tend to doubt ourselves all the time. And if that is something that you've been doing, please stop. So send things out there. Don't be afraid to share things and send things out there. But that is really how my journey with Thinkific actually started. And I remember when I first got onto the website, I couldn't find any examples of Thinkific courses. So I will link down below a video so that you can see what some of my courses look like. Also, I remember looking at the website and wishing that I was on it, and then later on, I got that opportunity, right? So I'm on the website right now, but that was a huge thing for me, and I realized that in that moment, I was very nervous because I submitted a photograph to be added to their website, and I had so many things go through my mind at that moment. I was like, "I don't know if this photo is high quality enough for, the website of a corporation, or or a huge company, or I don't know if I like this picture enough." And I think I had changed my hair by the time I submitted that picture, and so that was a thing in itself. Like, I don't even look the same. So many things went through my mind, but I still sent it, and then they reached out like, "Yes, we want you on the site," and that was a pretty cool experience, right? So that's how that just a little back story about how people know me from the Thinkific website. But I wanted to share that, and just sharing about sharing, right? Don't be afraid to share. Don't be afraid to put your all into what you do, because when they saw that video and then they got digging deeper into what I do, they had a lot of goodness to dig into. I had been creating content forever. I'm a stickler for content. I'm a stickler for great content. I am naturally a writer. I love writing, although I don't do enough of it. Personal writing anymore. But get when you have something that a company can look into and understand and learn more about you, even over the years, that's always something that is really great. Another thing that I really put work into is standing out. And that works really well for brands that are looking at you as well. We know that visual content is really popular online, but within my niche of software and, working with software companies and things like that, I am really always wanting to stand out, because there is a sea of information, there's a sea of images, and how are you really standing out? So whether you schedule a shoot every few months, or, once a year, or however often, I recommend at least twice a year for you to meet with a photographer and get your pictures taken for your content. But people want to see your face. I always, always say that, right? So I believe in creating amazing content, like really good content, whether it be words, audio, whatever it is. But I also am a believer of standing out with your visual content. A lot of people neglect this online, especially not Instagram, especially when it comes to having a proper website, and making sure that that website is doing something for you. It's letting people know what you want them to know about you, right? Speaking of which, I need a website update. However, just saying that, a lot of people neglect that part of it. So now this, was really helpful in me becoming a Thinkific expert, and I kind of want to share that and share like what happens when people are seeing a bigger brand or business embrace you, right? It becomes easier to get into doors that are harder to get in for other people. So you want to make sure that you have a few things put together when it comes to your own business. You want to make sure that you have your website, like I mentioned before, intact. You want to make sure that you have stellar content, or whatever it is that your goal is, whatever you want to be known for, make sure those things are intact. Like, I know that video content is where I really trump. I love creating knowledge based video content. And that's what I teach my people to create as well, like package your knowledge and put it out there. And so I believe that knowledge is, or even like yeah, knowledge is, or education based content is the best marketing ever. So you want to think about it like that. So make sure that the things that you are putting out are up to par. Like put your work in there. Like make sure that I mean, I see a lot of people online marketing and we're not too sure what they're marketing. And I don't want you, my people who are listening to this, to fall into that trap. Make sure that you are really like you know exactly what you're sharing or what knowledge you're sharing or what you want to be known for, right? Also, the other thing that I want to share about when it comes to creating really strong relationships, other than standing out, other than having amazing content, other than packaging your knowledge up and sharing that knowledge, I will also want to mention, and other than your website and other than video, of course, I want to also mention make sure that if you are looking to connect with a brand, you want to make sure that they're using their product and that you genuinely love it. Like I have been able to create partnerships with other brands, aside from even Thinkific or them knowing that I love Thinkific, but because I use them and love them. So I'm a person that I'm always trying different types of software, different things for my business. And so if I tell you to use something, it's because I've used it for a long while. I've tested it, I've tried it. Most things I've used, I've been using them for years and I really love them. Most companies that I use in my business have actually grown with those companies. So I just want to mention that if you are actually, it's so amazing when you connect with a company or a brand and, after you connect with them, you're like, hey, I've been using your product for 3, 4 years. It's so amazing to these companies to hear that. So I want to make sure and mention, make sure you're using their products and don't just reach out and be like, can I have a free account on your, because people do that. Make sure you're using their product and that you genuinely love it. And even when you get on a conversation or a call with whoever you're talking to, the conversation is going to be so much easier because you know their product inside out. You've been there for the journey. I remember connecting with Later Media and I've been using Later since it was Later Gram, which was years ago. So I use Later and I love Later and I've paid for Later, right? And I've been using Later since it was Later Gram. And so working with them, they are connected to Thinkific, right? And that's a whole other story for a whole other day because it's such an amazing connection. But that connection is really, no, not the connection. What am I saying? Well, yes, that connection between Later and I was also genuine because I had been using Later for so long. So you want to think about making sure that you're using products and that you genuinely love them. And I have so many other products to share that I absolutely love, that I have not shared just yet that I've been using forever. The third thing is you want to be yourself. When people come to you and they're talking to you, they really want to connect with a person, right? So although we think about business all the time, like it's really two businesses connecting, it's also two people connecting. And you want to keep that in mind. Really be yourself. That is one of the best ways to stand out. I have things, about me that are, interesting and intriguing to these brands. And there are things that I mention over and over in my own brand, like in my own brand story. Like part of my brand story is that I moved from New York to Dallas on a whim and I actually fell in love with Dallas. You know, part of my a funny part of my brand story is that I used to change my hair a lot. Now I don't do that so much anymore because busy and life. But even having half a bald head is a pretty fun thing, right? So it becomes part of who I am or part of how I visually stand out. I'm not saying that you have to shave your head, but you know, it definitely like be yourself. Be yourself. That is a huge part of it all. And the more that you can be yourself, the more that you will find the right partnerships and right things to work along with for you. Another thing is reach out and connect with people. Like I said, as creatives, we tend to be afraid to stand out. Tend to be afraid to shake the room a bit. Shout out to Pop Smoke. Well, rest in peace to Pop Smoke. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. From the Flossy. If you don't know who Pop Smoke is, he is a rapper from Brooklyn, from Canarsie, Brooklyn, which is where I'm from, who passed away recently. And he had a song called Shake the Room. That's why I said it. But, don't be afraid to shake the room. Don't be afraid to say, hey, I'm here. Don't be afraid to reach out and let people know that you've been using their product for so long and that, you'd be interested in knowing more about even becoming a beta. Whoa, I didn't even write that one down, but that's a huge thing. If you're a beta tester for a brand, it's a great way for them to get to know you from feedback. Just, I don't know, like, open up and speak out about who you are, what you do, who you serve. Because a lot of times, that brand or that business, that bigger brand or business, their audience needs your information, whether you're a coach, whether you're a creator, whatever it is. A lot of times, the things that we are actually, think about it, think about the value here. Usually, what happens is that the thing that you're great at, that bigger brand, their community has needs for your products or services. And then it becomes an actual partnership. Right? So you want to think about that as well. And the last thing that I want to share before I get off, this has been a pretty long podcast, but I enjoyed recording it. So, I definitely am going to do some more. But the last thing that you want to do is make use of your influence. No matter how small you think you are, make use of your influence. Like I said, shake the room. Like, even if you have 5 people that listen to exactly what you say, you got to learn to really work with those 5 people because they will listen to whatever you have to say. That's influence right there. You don't need much else. And as long as you're focusing on them, working with them, nurturing them, loving them, those 5 people will grow and keep on growing. And you can still bring value to a bigger business or a bigger brand because what's the use of having crazy numbers if only 5 of those people listen to you anyway? So I just wanted to share that. And I love you guys. I thank you for listening. And you can definitely check out more about this episode down below, and I'll post on the blog. I don't have everything together just yet for this podcast, but I wanted to do it because we are in quarantine. And sometimes I have things to say that may not rank well on YouTube. And so I just decided to start recording audio again. Yeah, hopefully you like this, and hopefully we'll be able to continue it along with all of the amazingness on my blog and on the YouTube channel as well. I will talk to you soon. Bye bye.